So, good day, ma'am. Good day, classmates. We're here to present our research study, which is the assessment of online education on academic performance for Generation Z in Cavite State University-Imus campus. So, we're the Group 6, and by the way, I'm Lloyd Menguito.
And I'm Orlando Bastida. We are the group 16. So we choose this topic, which is the assessment of online learning on academic performance for Generation C. We just wanna know what could be the possible factor or effect on the student during the new normal during the new normal um i- is it really helpful for the student to use the gadgets or other devices the other devices for their studying.
So, good day everyone. Good day, ma'am. We are here to discuss our study, which is the assessment of online education on academic performance for Generation C in Cavite State University-Imus campus.
We choose this topic because we want to know what could be the possible outcome or effect of online education of academic performance of Generation Z. So first, let us discuss the points that include in our introduction. So the first key that I'm about to discuss is the importance of education to peoples and country. Education is very important in a person's life and it's useful in everyday life. Education makes humans smartest creation of the earth. It empowers the people and get them ready to face challenges in life efficiently. It open it opens doors and creates opportunities to many people. Nobody can deny the fact that education is extremely important for bringing change in all of us. Like what the other said, education is the only treasure that cannot be stolen. It is essential for everyone. Education plays an important role in molding people to become successful. When it comes from the country's viewpoint, even the education plays an important role. Education will give us opportunity to become a productive member of civilized society by acquiring all necessary skills. It promotes the economic system and social system by giving academic knowledge and employable skill. Education system determines the development of a country. So the second one is implementation of online education due to COVID-19 in the Philippines. So we all know that when the COVID-19 came in the Philippines, all of face-to-face class are suspended by the government. So due to the COVID-19, the government of the Philippines and the CHED or Commission on Higher Education implemented an online education. So the third key point is flexible learning. So when the government and the CHED implemented online education, it happened through flexible learning. So what is flexible learning? Flexible learning is the design and delivery of courses and learning intervention that address learners' unique needs in terms of place, pace, process, and products of learning. It involves the use of digital and non-digital technology. It can be online and offline learning, or it can be the both of two. There are types of flexible learning which are online, where the delivery of instruction needs online classroom. Learning materials are in digital format, webcast, podcast, audio, video, and other online materials. Offline is the second, which means it is the learning mode where the students do not need the use of internet. Learning is done through printed modules. The third is blended learning, which is the combination of online and offline. So the fourth key points are the advantages and effects of online education to academic performance. According to the studies of International Journal of Medical Research and Health Sciences in 2019, students are performing better in e-learning than those who studying face-to-face. They are also believe that e-learning is offering pressures for higher education institutions. The main purpose of e-learning is to increase accessibility of education and reducing costs and time as well as improving students' academic performance. The last key points are the Generation C. So what are the Generation C? Generation Z are the people who were born after 1996. So this generation grew up with the growth of technologies. According to an article written by Francis N. Hoppel in 2020, this generation raised and exposed with the internet, social media, and mobile system. This generation is comfortable learning alongside using digital tools such as online forums. According to the study done by Barnes and Noble College in 2018, 89% of Generation Z rated a college education as valuable. For them, they seen college as the path of good job. According to Trinsaupi in 2019, Gen Zers are used to be passive learners in education industry. They are not interested in showing up in class, sitting through a lectures, and taking notes that they will memorize for an exam. They do not see also college is a key of success. As much as they know and lean through digital technologies, they jump through entrepreneur and start their own business. So now we are moving into the statement of the problem, which is the research problem. So number 1, what is the impact of online learning education to academic performance of Generation Z? Number 2, what is the relationship of online education on academic performance? Number 3, what is the difference between online learning and traditional learning? Number 4, what are the problems and constraints of using technology and online education? Number 5, is there a significant between the demographic profile to academic performance on online education? Number 6, is there a significant difference between the impact of online learning and traditional learning? In this research problem, it aims to know what are the possible outcomes of the study. So we are moving to research objective. Identify the demographic profile of Generation Z participants in Cavite State University. Age, gender, civil status, residency, and educational attainment. To determine the impact of online learning education to academic performance of Generation Z. To determine the relationship of online education and academic performance. To determine the difference between online learning and traditional learning. To determine the problem and constraints of using technology in online education. To test the significance between the demographic profile to academic performance on online education. To test the significance difference between the impact of online learning and traditional learning to Generation Z. So we're heading to the significance of the study. It targets the people who will benefit by this study. So number 1, future researchers. Number 2, students. Number 3, teachers. And lastly, the schools. The scope and limitation of the research. The focus of the study is to find out the major factors and effects of online education to academic performance within the Generation Z's student in Cavite State University-Imus campus, age 18 to 23 years old. The following became part of the considerations to achieve the main goal of this study, which is to know if the Philippines is ready to go with online education.
So now I'm going to discuss the frameworks of this study. So first we were going to discuss the theoretical framework. So this our theoretical framework shows what could be the possible things to happen during online class that will affect on their academic performance. It's pretty obvious that the system gives an ease to students, but how will the students learn well if there are many distractions during their online class? So the second framework, which is the conceptual framework, this framework represents the input process and the output of the study. The independent variable are the demographic profile of Gen Z respondents, devices that they're using, internet connection that they have, and the soft copy that they're using during after the class. The process that this data will be used is the most common step, which is the survey questionnaire, data gathering, analyzing the data, and finalizing the data. So after conducting the process, output will appear, which is the assessment of online class on academic performance for Gen Z students in Cavite State University-Imus campus.
No, this is our methodology or chapter 3. Methodology simply refers to the practical how of any given piece of research. More specifically, it's about how a research systematically designs a study to ensure valid and reliable results that address the research aim and objectives. So our research design, this study tackles the factors affecting the academic performance of Generation C students in Cavite State University-Imus campus. We, as the researcher, will be survey research method to gather all the necessary data for the research. Quantitative research is the process of collecting and analyzing numerical data. It can be used to find pattern and average, make predictions, test causal relationships, and generalize result to wider population. Qualitative method also emphasize objective measurements and the statistical, mathematical, or numerical analysis of data collected through polls, questionnaires, and surveys, or by manipulating pre-existing statistical data using computational. Our research locale. Um, our research, we will be conduct the data, the research presented the reader with the settings where the study data collection was conducted. The research will be conducted in the selected areas in the IMUS in the IM in the IMUS Cavite, where the participant will be Generation C student of Cavite State University. The chosen respondent will be given a questionnaire to be answered. So our research participants, um, the respondents of the study will come from the Generation C student in Cavite State University campus in selected area of Imus Cavite, and it is composed of 100 Generation C student of Cavite State University Imus campus. Source of data. In this study, the researcher used to data collection. These are the primary and secondary data. The primary were gathered through an approved survey questionnaire, while the secondary were composed of other sources such as books, journals, and other form and other stuff that comes from different website that will be used to verify this study. Research instrument. The researcher use We will be using a questionnaire in gathering data. The data that was gathered will be analyzed. The instrument for the study will be self-made and adapted in the previous study. The researcher will let the respondents answer the given survey questionnaire with an explanation. The first part of the questionnaire contains the demographic profile of the selected students of Generation C student in Cavite State University-Imus campus that includes age, gender, civil status, residency, and educational attainment. The second part was the impact of online education to the academic performance of Generation C student in Cavite State University. The third one was the relationship of online education to academic performance of Generation C. And last one, what's the difference of online education to the traditional education? Sampling so sampling technique. The sampling technique will be applied in this study was stratified random sampling. Stratified sampling is a probability sampling method that involves randomly selecting subjects from non-overlapping subgroups or strats in the population.
So, data gathering procedure. By gathering the data about this research, we need to ask permission for those respondents. The questionnaire was the main tool used by the study in gathering data. A questionnaire is a research instrument consisting of series of questions and other prompts for the purpose of gathering information from the respondents. The researcher used structured questionnaire, close-ended. Structured questionnaire is used in surveys where specific answers are anticipated. It generates quantitative information which can be analyzed statistically. After collecting all data, the researchers will tabulate and tally the survey. The result will be the basis for the study. Statistical treatment for data. After collecting the data, students were statistically analyzed with the data instrument of the study with the use of descriptive statistics such as percentage and frequency, mean, standard deviation, Pearson's R, and range. So, for percentage and frequency distribution, this method will use to measure and analyze the study. It is also a display of data that specify the percentage of observation that exists for each data point of grouping of data points. It's particularly useful method of expressing the relative frequency of survey responses and other data. So to get the percentage, the formula is P equals to F divided by N times 100, where the F is equal to frequency, N is the total number of respondents, and P is the percentage. So next, so, so next let's proceed to mean. This method will use to determine the average value of a set of values, which is the sum of all values divided by the value. The mean is an important measure because it incorporates the score from every subject in this research study. So, to get the mean, the formula is mean equals summation of x divided by n, where the summation of x sum of all x values and n is equal to size or number of the subject. So, the standard deviation, it is measured that is used to quantify the amount of variation or dispersion of a set of data values. So the standard deviation is important because it provides an indication how far the individual responses to a question vary or deviate from the mean. So the next one is Pearson's R or Pearson's correlation coefficient. This was used to determine whether there is a significant relation between the two variables. So we need this Pearson's R statistical tool to identify the relationship between online education and traditional education. So the last one is range. So range provide an indication of statistical dispersion around the central tendency or degree of spread in data.